Welcome back to the Zen Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Mohammad Aasif, and today we're diving deep into something that could literally transform your entire life, creating a personal development plan from absolute scratch. If you've ever felt stuck, directionless, or wondered how successful people seem to have it all figured out, this video is your roadmap to clarity and purposeful growth. Now, before we jump in, I want you to do something for me. Look at where you are right now in your life. Are you exactly where you thought you'd be 5 years ago? Are you progressing toward your dreams, or do you feel like you're just drifting through life hoping things will somehow work out? If you're in that second category, don't worry, you're not alone, and more importantly, you're in the right place. Today, I'm going to walk you through a complete, step-by-step system for creating a personal development plan that actually works. We're not talking about some fluffy, feel-good exercise here. This is a proven, research-backed framework that will help you identify your strengths, address your weaknesses, set meaningful goals, and create a clear action plan to get from where you are to where you want to be. And here's the best part: by the end of this video, you'll have all the tools you need to start building your own personal development plan tonight. No expensive courses, no complicated software, just practical strategies you can implement immediately. But before we dive in, if you're finding value in this content and you want to support the channel, please hit that like button. It really helps us reach more people who need to hear this message. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss our latest content on personal growth, mindfulness, and living your best life. Understanding personal development plans. So, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a personal development plan, and why do you need one? A personal development plan, or PDP, is essentially a roadmap for your life. It's a structured document that helps you identify your goals, understand your current situation, and create a clear path toward the person you want to become. Think of it as your personal GPS for success. It tells you where you are, where you want to go, and the best route to get there. Now, you might be thinking, Mohammed, I have goals. I know what I want. But here's the thing: having vague aspirations floating around in your head is completely different from having a concrete, written plan with specific steps and deadlines. Research shows that people who write down their goals are significantly more likely to achieve them than those who just think about them. The beauty of a personal development plan is that it's completely customized to you. Your plan will be different from mine, and mine will be different from your best friend's. That's because we all have different strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and life circumstances. What matters is creating a plan that aligns with your values, your vision, and your current reality. A comprehensive personal development plan typically includes several key components: your long-term vision, specific goals broken down by time frame, an honest assessment of your current situation, identified strengths and areas for improvement, specific action steps, and methods for tracking your progress. But here's what most people get wrong: they try to change everything at once. They create these massive, overwhelming plans with dozens of goals, and then they burn out within a few weeks. The key to a successful personal development plan is focus and balance. You want to challenge yourself, but you also want to set yourself up for success, not failure. The foundation, goal setting, and the SMART framework. Now that we understand what a personal development plan is, let's talk about the foundation of any good plan: goal setting. And not just any goal setting, but SMART goal setting. Literally. Have you ever heard of SMART goals? SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This framework has been around for decades because it works. It transforms vague wishes into concrete objectives that you can actually achieve. Let me break this down for you with an example. Let's say you want to get in better shape. That's a nice intention, but it's not a SMART goal. A SMART version would be, I will exercise for 30 minutes, 5 times a week for the next 6 months to improve my cardiovascular health and lose 15 pounds. See the difference? The second version is specific. We know exactly what exercise means. It's measurable. We can track the 30 minutes, 5 times a week, and the 15 pounds. It's achievable. This is a realistic commitment for most people. It's relevant. It connects to improving cardiovascular health. And it's time-bound. We have a 6-month deadline. Let me give you some more examples to really drive this home. For career development, instead of I want a better job, try I will complete a Python certification course within 4 months to qualify for a data analyst position in my current company. For personal relationships, instead of I want to be closer to my family, try I will call my parents twice a week and plan a monthly family outing for the next 6 months. The SMART framework works because it forces you to think through the practical details of your goals. When you're specific about what you want to achieve, you're more likely to recognize opportunities that can help you get there. When you make your goals measurable, you can track your progress and stay motivated. When you ensure they're achievable, you avoid setting yourself up for disappointment and discouragement. But here's a crucial point: achievable doesn't mean easy. Your goals should stretch you. They should make you a little uncomfortable. If a goal doesn't scare you at least a little bit, it's probably not big enough to create meaningful change in your life. Conducting your personal SWOT analysis. Before you can create an effective plan for where you're going, you need to have a clear understanding of where you are right now. This is where a personal SWOT analysis comes in, and it's one of the most powerful self-assessment tools you can use. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This strategic planning tool has been used by organizations for decades, but it's incredibly valuable for personal development as well. Think of it as taking an honest, comprehensive inventory of your current situation. Let's start with strengths. These are your internal positive traits, skills, and competencies that set you apart. Maybe you're naturally good with people, or you have strong analytical skills, or you're incredibly persistent. These might be professional skills like project management or technical abilities, or they might be personal qualities like empathy, creativity, or leadership. Here's the key: most people underestimate their strengths. We tend to take our natural abilities for granted because they come easily to us. But these strengths are your foundation. They're what you'll build your development plan on, and they're often the fastest path to achieving your goals. Take a moment right now and think about 3 things you do really well. What do people often compliment you on? What tasks do you find easy that others struggle with? What gives you energy rather than draining you? Write these down, we'll come back to them. Now, let's talk about weaknesses. These are internal limitations or areas where you lack skills or confidence. And I want to be clear about something: acknowledging weaknesses isn't about beating yourself up or focusing on the negative. It's about being honest so you can create a plan to improve. Maybe you struggle with public speaking, or you have trouble with time management, or you avoid conflict. Perhaps you lack certain technical skills that are becoming important in your field, or you have limiting beliefs that hold you back. The goal isn't to fix every weakness; that's impossible. The goal is to identify the ones that are most limiting your progress toward your goals. Opportunities are external factors that could benefit you. These might be trends in your industry, changes in your personal circumstances, new technologies, educational programs, or networking possibilities. The key is to identify opportunities that align with your strengths and goals. For example, maybe your company is expanding into a new market where your language skills would be valuable. Or perhaps there's a growing demand for a skill you already have. Maybe you've moved to a new city with better educational opportunities, or you've connected with someone who could become a mentor. Finally, threats are external factors that could hinder your progress. These might include economic changes, industry disruptions, personal circumstances, or competition. The idea isn't to become paranoid about every possible obstacle, but to be aware of potential challenges so you can plan around them or prepare contingencies. When you put all 4 elements together, you get a complete picture of your current situation. Your strengths and opportunities show you where you have the most potential for growth. Your weaknesses and threats help you identify areas where you need to be proactive about improvement or protection. The GROW model for action planning. Now that you have a clear picture of where you are through your SWOT analysis and you've set some SMART goals, we need to create an action plan. This is where the GROW model comes in. It's a coaching framework that's perfect for personal development planning. GROW stands for goals, reality, options, and will. It was originally developed for sports psychology but has become one of the most widely used coaching models because of its simplicity and effectiveness. We've already covered the goals part with our SMART framework, so let's focus on reality. This is about getting brutally honest about your current situation. Not where you wish you were, not where you think you should be, but where you actually are right now. This means looking at your current skills, your available time, your financial resources, your support system, and any constraints you're working within. If your goal is to start your own business, your reality might include the fact that you have a full-time job, a mortgage, and limited startup capital. That doesn't mean you can't achieve your goal, but it means your plan needs to account for these realities. The options phase is where creativity comes in. This is about brainstorming all the different ways you could move from your current reality toward your goals. Don't judge or filter your ideas at first, just generate as many options as possible. Let's stick with the business example. Your options might include starting a side business while keeping your day job, saving money for a year before making the leap, finding a business partner who can provide capital, starting with a smaller, less risky version of your business idea, or taking a course in entrepreneurship to build your skills first. The beautiful thing about the options phase is that it helps you realize you have more choices than you initially thought. Most of us get stuck thinking there's only one way to achieve our goals, but there are usually multiple paths to any destination. Finally, WOL is about commitment and action. This is where you choose which options you're going to pursue and commit to specific steps. It's also where you identify potential obstacles and plan how you'll overcome them. This is the phase where many people get stuck. They've done the analysis, they've brainstormed options, but they struggle to commit to action. Here's what I've learned: you don't need to have the perfect plan. You just need to have a good enough plan and the willingness to adjust as you go. Breaking down your plan, short, medium, and long-term goals. One of the biggest mistakes people make with personal development is thinking too far ahead without breaking things down into manageable chunks. Your personal development plan needs to work on multiple time horizons: short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals that all connect to your overall vision. Let's start with long-term goals. These are your big, inspiring objectives, usually looking 3 to 5 years or even 10 years into the future. These might include things like reaching a certain level in your career, achieving a specific lifestyle, developing expertise in a particular area, or making a significant contribution to your community. Your long-term goals should be exciting enough to motivate you but not so detailed that they become rigid. The world changes, you change, and you need room for your goals to evolve. Think of long-term goals as your North Star. They give you direction but allow for course corrections along the way. Medium-term goals typically span 6 months to 2 years. These are the stepping stones that connect your current reality to your long-term vision. They're specific enough to guide your actions but flexible enough to adjust based on what you learn and how circumstances change. For example, if your long-term goal is to become a published author, your medium-term goals might include completing a writing course, finishing your first manuscript, building an online platform, and connecting with other writers in your genre. Short-term goals are your immediate objectives, usually spanning the next few weeks to a few months. These are the goals that drive your daily and weekly actions. They should be specific, measurable, and directly connected to your medium and long-term objectives. Using our author example, short-term goals might include writing 500 words per day, reading 1 book in your genre per month, joining a local writing group, or setting up a basic website. Here's the key to making this work: your short-term goals should ladder up to your medium-term goals, which should ladder up to your long-term goals. Every action you take should connect to something bigger. This creates momentum and ensures that your daily efforts are actually moving you toward your bigger vision. But here's what's really important: you need to regularly review and adjust these goals. I recommend reviewing your short-term goals weekly, your medium-term goals monthly, and your long-term goals quarterly. This isn't about changing directions every time you hit an obstacle. It's about staying responsive to new information and opportunities, identifying development areas and creating action steps. Now let's get into the practical details of what you'll actually work on. Based on your SWOT analysis and your goals, you need to identify specific development areas and create concrete action steps for each one. Development areas typically fall into several categories: professional skills, personal skills, knowledge areas, relationships, health and wellness, and mindset or beliefs. You don't need to work on all of these at once. In fact, you shouldn't. Choose 2 to 3 areas that will have the biggest impact on your ability to achieve your goals. Let's say one of your development areas is public speaking because it's essential for your career advancement but it's currently a weakness. Your action steps might include joining a Toastmasters club, watching TED Talks to study effective speakers, practicing with friends or family, taking an online course, or volunteering to give presentations at work. Notice that these aren't vague intentions like get better at speaking. They're specific, actionable steps that you can schedule and complete. Each action step should have a deadline and a way to measure whether you've completed it successfully. Here's a framework I like to use for creating action steps. What exactly will you do? When will you do it? How will you know you've succeeded? What resources do you need? What obstacles might you encounter, and how will you handle them? Let's look at another example. Maybe you want to improve your emotional intelligence because you've realized it's affecting your relationships at work. Your action steps might include reading specific books on emotional intelligence, practicing mindfulness meditation daily, asking for feedback from trusted colleagues, working with a coach or therapist, and keeping a journal to track your emotional responses in different situations. The key is to make your action steps as specific and concrete as possible. Instead of practice mindfulness, write meditate for 10 minutes every morning using the Headspace app. Instead of read about emotional intelligence, read Emotional Intelligence 2.0 by the end of this month and complete the assessment. This level of specificity serves two purposes. First, it makes it much easier to actually follow through because you know exactly what to do. Second, it makes it easier to track your progress and adjust your plan if needed. Measuring progress and tracking success. Having a plan is great, but if you're not tracking your progress, you're essentially flying blind. This is where many personal development efforts fail. People create plans but don't build in systems for measuring and maintaining momentum. There are several ways to track progress, and you should choose methods that work for your personality and lifestyle. Some people love detailed spreadsheets and data. Others prefer simple journals or apps. The best tracking system is the one you'll actually use consistently. For goal-oriented tracking, I recommend a simple weekly review process. Every week, look at your short-term goals and action steps. What did you complete? What did you skip? What obstacles did you encounter? What did you learn? This doesn't need to take more than 15 to 20 minutes, but it keeps you connected to your plan and helps you catch problems early. For skill development, consider keeping a learning journal where you record new insights, techniques you've tried, and how your abilities are improving. If you're working on public speaking, you might note your comfort level before and after each presentation, what went well, what you want to improve, and specific feedback you received. Many people find it helpful to have accountability partners or coaches who check in on their progress regularly. This could be a friend who's also working on personal development, a mentor in your field, or a professional coach. Having someone else invested in your success can provide motivation and external perspective when you're stuck. Don't forget to celebrate your wins, especially the small ones. Personal development is a long-term game, and it's easy to get discouraged if you only focus on how far you still have to go. Acknowledging your progress, even incremental progress, helps maintain motivation and builds confidence. Here's something important: your tracking should include both quantitative and qualitative measures. Yes, track the concrete stuff like completed 3 out of 4 planned action steps this week or gave 2 presentations this month. But also track the qualitative changes like felt more confident in team meetings or handled a difficult conversation better than I would have 6 months ago. Common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Before we wrap up, I want to talk about some common mistakes people make with personal development plans, because knowing what to avoid is just as important as knowing what to do. The first major pitfall is trying to change too much too fast. I see this all the time. People get excited about personal development and create these massive plans with dozens of goals across every area of their life. They try to exercise daily, learn a new language, advance their career, improve their relationships, and develop new hobbies all at the same time. Here's the reality: willpower and motivation are finite resources. If you spread them too thin, you'll burn out and end up making little progress on anything. Instead, focus on 2 to 3 key development areas at most. Master those, then add new areas. The second pitfall is perfectionism. People create these beautiful, detailed plans and then abandon them the moment they fall behind or miss a deadline. Your personal development plan is a tool, not a test. It's meant to guide you, not judge you. If you miss a goal or need to adjust your timeline, that's normal and expected. Adjust the plan and keep moving forward. The third pitfall is isolation: trying to do everything alone. Personal development is much more effective when you have support, feedback, and accountability from others. This might mean finding a mentor, joining a group of people with similar goals, or simply sharing your plans with friends and family who can encourage you. The fourth pitfall is not connecting your development plan to your deeper values and purpose. If your goals are only about external achievements, more money, higher status, more recognition, you might achieve them and still feel empty. The most sustainable personal development connects to who you want to be as a person, not just what you want to achieve. Finally, many people create plans but don't build in regular review and adjustment processes. Your plan should be a living document that evolves as you grow and as your circumstances change. Set aside time monthly or quarterly to review your plan, celebrate your progress, and make adjustments based on what you've learned. Creating your personal development plan tonight. Alright, let's bring this all together. I want to give you a simple framework you can use to start creating your personal development plan tonight. You don't need fancy software or complex templates, just a notebook or a simple document on your computer. Start with a vision statement. In 1 or 2 paragraphs, describe who you want to be and what you want your life to look like in 3 to 5 years. Don't worry about being perfectly articulate, just get your thoughts down. This is your North Star. Next, conduct a quick SWOT analysis. List 3 to 5 items in each category: your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Be honest but don't overthink it. You can always refine this later. Then, using the SMART framework, write down 3 to 5 key goals for the next 12 months. Make sure these connect to your vision and build on your strengths or address your most important weaknesses. For each goal, identify 2 to 3 specific development areas and create action steps using the GROW model. What will you do in the next 90 days? What will you do this month? What will you do this week? Finally, set up a simple tracking system. How will you measure progress? When will you review and adjust your plan? Who will you share this with for accountability? Remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. The goal is to start with something concrete that you can refine and improve over time. A mediocre plan that you actually follow is infinitely better than a perfect plan that sits in a drawer. One more thing: make this process enjoyable. Personal development should be exciting, not a chore. You're literally designing the life you want to live. Approach it with curiosity and enthusiasm, not stress and pressure. Your next steps and staying committed. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with some final thoughts on making your personal development plan stick. The plan itself is just the beginning. The real magic happens in the consistent execution over time. First, start small, but start today. Don't wait until Monday or the first of the month or when you have more time. Pick one small action step from your plan and do it today. Momentum builds on momentum, and taking that first step creates psychological commitment to the process. Second, build personal development into your routine rather than treating it as an add-on to your life. If you're trying to squeeze development activities into whatever time is left over, they won't happen consistently. Schedule them like you would any other important appointment. Third, be patient with the process. Real personal development happens over months and years, not days and weeks. You might not see dramatic changes immediately, but trust that consistent small actions compound over time into significant transformation. And here's something I want you to remember: when things get difficult, and they will get difficult, you already have everything you need to succeed. You have unique strengths, valuable experiences, and the capacity to learn and grow. Your personal development plan is simply a way to organize and focus that potential. The person you're becoming through this process is more important than any specific goal you achieve. Every action you take in service of your development is making you stronger, wiser, and more capable. That's valuable regardless of the specific outcomes. Closing and call to action. And that's a wrap on today's deep dive into creating a personal development plan from scratch. I hope you're feeling inspired and equipped to start designing the next chapter of your life. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps us reach more people who could benefit from this content. And if you're not already subscribed to the Zen Mind Podcast, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our latest videos on personal growth, mindfulness, and living with intention. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What's one goal you're going to include in your personal development plan? What's one action step you're going to take this week? Let's support each other on this journey of growth and self-improvement. Remember, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is right now. Your future self is counting on the decisions you make today, so let's make them count. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and keep becoming the person you're meant to be. This is Mohammad Aasif from the Zen Mind Podcast, and I'll see you in the next video.